Hey there, so today we are starting seeds. Got the seed trays back out and I am starting some seeds for the fall garden, which I am excited about. I'm a little bit late. Typically I like to start my fall seeds mid-July, but we're here at the end of July and I think it's gonna be okay. I'm planning on probably planting all these out hopefully like the first couple weeks of September, so that'll give them about 6 weeks to grow. I'm kind of pushing the limits a little bit. I'm gonna use a 60 cell tray for my viola seeds and we'll see how that goes. I think that violas tend to grow pretty slow. They take a little while to get going. I find that they grow kind of slow inside, and then once you plant them out, they tend to take off and grow a bit bigger. So I'm hoping that a 60 cell, just these little tiny cells, will be okay to get them started, and then yeah, in about 6 to 8 weeks I will plant them out. And then I also have a 40 cell tray with a little bit bigger cups, and I am going to start some lettuces, some collard greens, some kale, that type of thing. I pulled out a seed pack of my favorite, this is like one of my favorite lettuces, the Unheated lettuce, and unfortunately I put it down, rookie mistake. I put it down right in a little bit of water that was on my counter, so I think they're dry. I think they're okay. I'm just gonna open this up and let this dry out. But I may seed some of this for Unheated lettuce. So I know I made a fall garden planning video a little while back, and I shared what my garden plans were, what seeds I was starting. I went through in a bit of detail all of the pansies and violas. I'm starting tons of those. And then I went through some of my other plans. So I will go through these just really quickly. I'm not going to talk a lot of detail about these varieties, but I do find that starting your fall plants inside is a really, really helpful way to get your fall garden going. So if you don't start things inside and you try to plant them out, you may struggle with germination. Of course, like, it's really hot today. It's about 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So this feels like a good, cool indoor project to be starting seeds. But I couldn't just start kale or anything outside. It wouldn't do well. So we're gonna start, I'm gonna do some collard greens. I love to start collard greens. They transplant super easily. This is a Georgian Southern collard green. I typically grow the Morris heading collards, but I just wanted to try something a little bit different. And this is supposed to be very heat tolerant as well, which is kind of cool. So I do think about in my fall garden planting out things that have a little bit of heat tolerance, because those first couple weeks of September are still going to be pretty warm, so that is part of the thought process. And then I have a couple Mizunas. This is the mustard Mizuna, just a nice pretty green one. And then I went ahead and grabbed out this Ben Haushi one, just to have a little bit of color differences. I wasn't going to do a ton of greens. Obviously I'm doing a lot of flowers with the violas, but these both grew really well for me in the past. Mustard greens tend to be a really hardy plant. So if we get the really cold snaps that we did last winter, actually last winter we only got one really cold snap right around Christmas time, like froze out my entire fall winter garden, which was kind of a bummer because other than that we had a pretty warm year. But the mustard greens tolerate a decent amount of cold, and they're just pretty. And I'm always looking for some decorative options as well. Even though, I mean, you can eat these and I probably will, they're also just very decorative kind of greens. And I do go for that typically because my garden is so small. I want to have it be decorative in addition to being functional. With that in mind, I'm going to be starting the dazzling blue kale, which I actually have. Let me show you this. It's going to be really loud out there because everyone's air conditioners are on, but I have some dazzling blue kale in my green stock that is growing beautifully. I'll quickly show you. Okay, I feel bad because I said it was growing beautifully and it needs some water. I'm gonna have to water the green stalk, but isn't this a gorgeous kale? So it is just truly a beautiful plant. It's obviously not supposed to be wilting like this, but it's a beautiful plant and it has been growing all summer, which has kind of been crazy. And I haven't really harvested much on it, honestly. I've just sort of enjoyed the look of it because it's kind of fun. So I gotta get out and water out here. Everything is looking kind of wilty, although the bay leaf never seems to mind. That doesn't care. Oh, while I'm out here, I will show you. This is a little update on my little window box garden. I've been harvesting a ton of cucumbers off here. I've harvested some peppers. Again, I need to water this. And I've been harvesting some tomatoes as well and the flowers. It's been doing pretty well, just it's hard to stay on top of the water. So the dazzling blue kale is a great variety, and it will grow really well in the winter as well, and it gets really sweet in the winter. I like to make it, in the winter I like to harvest it and make like a Caesar salad. So, and it's just like, it's so sweet and delicious, it's amazing. So I have these 4 here, and I think I'll probably do, each row here has 4 or 5 cells. So I'll probably fill all the cells, and then I want to do some crystal white wax onions. I want to do some more bunching onions, just a few cells of those. And then I had broccoli, so I'm going to try to do a broccoli. No, wait, where's my broccoli? This is not broccoli. Here, Romanesco broccoli. We're just going to do like 2 Romanesco broccoli plants. I want to do just a couple of these mini bok choys just to see how they do. Just grow a couple of them, and then I'm going to do a few Swiss chards. Ooh, and then I have to pick snapdragons or more pak choi. You know what? I'm gonna do snapdragons inside because the pak choi I can definitely start outdoors once it gets a little cooler. Let's see how many days to harvest. 60 days to maturity. So if I plant this, let's see, my first frost is typically around the end of October. So if I plant this at the beginning of September, direct sow, there's a potential I could get, yeah, I could actually get a harvest of that. So that is the plan for all of these. And now I just am going to go ahead and seed them. I don't do anything different. I just followed the seed packet directions, and yeah, just plant them in here, and then I will water them in. I'm going to try to keep all of these on the counter. That is the goal. Let's see. Okay. Let's plant. All right, so I ended up doing a whole row of the dazzling blue kale, and then I did 6 of the collard greens. I mixed the 2 mustards and did a few cells multi-sown. I already feel like I oversowed these mustard greens, and I'm gonna probably have to go in and thin, and I'm gonna regret that decision. So that was a little bit, I just started putting them in, and then it's gonna be way too many. So we'll deal with that when we come to it. Then I did the Swiss chard and the snapdragons. I tried to not sow the snapdragons too thickly because that is what I typically end up doing, is I end up sowing the snapdragons way too thickly. And then I went ahead and did 6 of the bok choy, a few of the Romanesco broccoli. I very much multi-sowed the bunching onions. I put those in big bunches with like 10 or so seeds. I did about 3 seeds each for the wax onions, trying the kind of like multi-sow method. And then I will just mist all of these. They're going to go live on my counter when I'm just going to keep an eye on them and then put them under grow lights. All of these plants are definitely going to need grow lights. If you have a south-facing window that gets enough light, I have started seeds in windows. I used to do pretty much all my seed starting in my south-facing windows, and it did really well, especially in the summer actually, because of course there's a lot more daylight than trying to start seeds in a window in the winter. So you can always try it, even if you don't want to invest necessarily right away in grow lights. If you're starting your fall garden, there may be enough sun this time of year. Okay, the next group of cells are the violas and the pansies. I will say it is interesting and fun with a fall garden to do some experiments like those snapdragons. My snapdragons got really taken out by like spider mites or thrips or something. So they're 100 days to maturity. I don't think we have 100 days. Do we have 100 days so fast? Basically of all of August, maybe, not quite, but assuming it still stays warm and through November, which it does, I'm wondering if I can get some fall winter flowers on the snapdragons, because they are pretty cold hardy. So it is fun to experiment and kind of like learn what grows, what overwinters. The onions will all overwinter for me beautifully. They will have no problem. A lot of the other things. So it's a fun thing to experiment. Okay, I'm just gonna go through all of these violas really quickly. In my other video, I really kind of explained the different attributes of these violas, but let's just run right through it. So we've got a classic Johnny Jump Up. I actually have a couple seed packets. A classic Johnny Jump Up. We have the Pansy Carnation Gold. We have Historic Florist Mix. Tiger Lietra. Wine Lietra. Minola Heart Aqua. Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh. Envy. I love this. A green, like sagey green viola. Super cool. Blue Perfection. Let's see. Bowls Black. That's gonna be super fun. Chicky Chicks. Really pretty antique. Oh my gosh, isn't that color gorgeous? Oh, there's so many fun. Floral Days, Morning Day. I mean, Morning Dew. So many fun flowers. Fire. Artreich Ruby. And Brush Strokes. These are stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. And I think I got almost all of these viola seeds from Baker Creek Seeds. I'm not affiliated with them, but they just happen to have a really, really good selection of viola seeds. Viola seeds are not one that you see just everywhere. I don't think they're a super, super common seed, but they grow pretty well from seeds. You do see the classic Johnny Jump Ups seeds all around, and yeah, they grow really well. You just have to give them a little bit of care and kind of get them started. So I have 60 cells here. I have 16 seed packets. Well, I guess 15, because 2 of the Johnny Jump Ups. So I'm gonna start with like 3 cells of each one, and then we will go from there. I am not marking these. I should label them. I think I'm gonna live dangerously and just not label them, and then just plant out a crazy mix of violas and just be, yeah, just let it be kind of wild in the garden. Mostly because I'm feeling too lazy right now to to label them. The viola seeds are very small, and I'm just gonna do 2 seeds in each cell because I don't want to have to deal with too many sprouting, and these are all pretty new seeds. And I know myself, and I know that I'm not gonna wanna do a bunch of thinning. If anything doesn't germinate, I will come back and re-sow just with whatever. I am using just a regular potting mix in here, not a seed starting mix, which you can see. It looks, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it looks really pretty, pretty barky, which you know, is okay. I have tried in the past using like just seed starting mix, but I find especially when you're starting in this small of plugs, there's just absolutely no food in there, and even if you fertilize, I have a harder time. So I use just a regular potting mix, and then I do go in and bottom water with fertilizer once they get their first set of true leaves, and that typically works for me pretty well. But yeah, this is a little barkier than I would like. But again, I'm just, you know, I'm not gonna try to sift it. You could definitely sift out some of this bark if you wanted to. I love these tiger eye ones. They're so pretty. The hardest thing right now for me is remembering if I sewed which cell I'm sewing on, because I'm not labeling. Not labeling, you know, often leads to regret, I should kind of say. I made a good effort of labeling earlier in the year, and it was really nice. But with the violas, I figured that, you know, it'll be okay. Now with the other fall crops, I will be able to tell pretty early on the differences in the different seed types, because they're such different types of plants. So that's sort of my plan to handle that. But I do also have the video, so I do go back and look at my own videos sometimes to know what I planted where. Did I already seed the black violas? I wanted to do a few extra of those. I started a bunch of violas this spring and they did super well. They're just a great one. You can also get violas at the garden center for pretty cheap. So, you know, sometimes depending on what your time commitment is and how much time you want to spend taking care of seedlings, you know, maybe you don't want to start your own from seed. What my plan is this year, because it is a busy time of year and it's easy for seedlings to get kind of forgotten about, my plan is going to be to actually put these on my counter. I just am doing the 2 trays. I'm going to have them on my counter under grow lights, and that way I can really keep an eye on them. You know, in the spring I do the big production with the whole setup and all of the, you know, lots and lots of seed trays, but we're just gonna do 2 seed trays for the fall garden, and we're just gonna have them on the counter, which I kind of like anyways, because it's fun to see the seeds come up and kind of follow it all. Okay, now we're gonna water them in. The nice thing about violas is I don't even cover the seeds. Obviously in a big seed mix like this, they kind of, you know, they kind of get a little bit covered by all of the different pieces of bark and stuff. So I'm just gonna water it in carefully. And then once everything starts coming up, I will go ahead and start just bottom watering in the tray. But until anything comes up, we'll just water from the top. And I just keep this handy now. The soil I put in here was slightly pre-moistened, but not super good. So I will put a little bit of water in the bottom of the tray to hopefully kind of water from underneath, and then I will be misting it throughout, you know, the next few days. I have a little cover. These are handy because they're a little taller of a humidity dome. You can close it. I got these from Park Seed, and they're kind of handy because, oh, the hummingbird has been all over my kookia out there. Anyways, the plants can grow up a little bit taller, and that's probably what I'm gonna do, because they're just gonna go on the counter right over here. So we're gonna have to kick the fruit bowl out of its home and put the seeds in, and then I'll set up lights and stuff. But I'm gonna wait until I'm gonna wait until these start coming up to set up the lights. So that is the fall garden started indoors, ready to go. And you know, I may go ahead and pick up some more started things. I think 60 violas is gonna be enough for my little space, but if it's not, I can always go grab some more viola starts. It can be a little hard to find fall garden starts, even I have access to some really great garden centers, and they don't always have a great selection. They don't always have a lot of things. So I do like to, you know, if there's something I really want to have, like the collard greens I really want to have, I like to make sure I just get that started, because it can be a little bit hard finding the right things at the right time. Either they sell out of them or they stock them too early or too late for my gardening. Sometimes it's just nice to get some of these done by seed, and I have some little seedlings to kind of take care of, which is gonna be fun too. Okay, so I am just gonna, move the other one over here, move the fruit bowl out of the way, and then keep an eye on them. I will update you when they start coming up, and you can follow along this process of the indoor seed starting for fall. As always, thank you so much for spending a little time with me, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.